Welcome to the Drunkard's Path. I'm Shelley, and for the newcomers, we have a online quilt shop called Drunkard's Path. So it's drunkardspath.com. Jump on there anytime, have a look. We've got lots and lots of fabrics and notions and just all things quilty and a little bit of stitch, like cross stitch stuff. So today I want to show you a few things, but do stick around just a minute for the second half of this video, where we are going to show you how to make this really nice jelly roll bag with pockets. So this tutorial is a little bit long, so I'm going to try and do the front half of this video a little bit quicker. Here's our featured guest. This is our dog Brady. He was a brother to Sid, so we just thought we'd let him say hi. I want to let you know about our featured collection that's going to be on sale. It is 20% off. This is Denim and Daisies by Fig Tree and Company. This video, the winner of the $25 gift card goes to Carol Elliott 9150. That's a $25 gift card. So, Carol, can you please drop us a line at support@drunkardspath.com and we can email you your gift card. We are coming up to that time of year again, or that time of the year, where we will be giving our quarterly prize, which is the 5 one-yard cuts of the Christmas fabric and a pattern. So anybody that's made a purchase from July 1st all the way to September 30th, you are in the running for this prize. I want to let you know we will have a booth at the IODE Quilt Shop in Petrolia on September 19th and 20th. So we hope to see you there. Come by, say hi. We would love to chat with you and show everybody what we have. Want to let you know, hope everybody caught our last video. It was just a tutorial video on how to make this really cute mug rug. This is a free pattern. There's a link if you scroll down on the video. Like if you scroll down underneath, you will see the link for this free pattern that we are putting out. For this pattern, it'll be there in PDF to make this fall mug rug. So it's our way of saying thank you again. Okay, I have put together a quilt that I'm making. It's all with foundation paper. So if anybody is interested in this quilt, drop me a line at support@drunkardspath.com. I'll show you what you'll need. I'm using the vintage Sunburst foundation paper. I'm using the economy 6-inch and the 2-inch square and a square foundation paper. This will come as a kit if you are interested in what I have done. I have taken our French General, and this is what I have so far, what I have started. So you'll see there's the vintage star, the economy, and I've shifted to a different fabric for the next blocks, so you can see that. And I've used for the cornerstones, the 2-inch square and a square paper. So this is just row 1 that I've got done so far. So I'm going to make 4 rows. So it's going to be 12 of each block. So you'll have 24 blocks, and it came out so good. These take a bit of time to do, but let's look at the result. It is just stunning what you can do with these papers. So if anybody is interested in this kit that I'm going to put together, by next video I should probably have everything worked out, the yardage and whatnot, and in a set price. But I kind of need to know if people are interested in something like this, so I can put the order in for the papers. And we have the French General, which I just showed you, or we have the red and white gatherings. So hopefully you can see there's 3. So we have the red and white, and these are the other 2 fabrics. I think it'll look really nice in either one of these collections, either the French General or the which is the Sacre Bleu, or the red and white gatherings to make this quilt. I think either one will be really nice. So you could specify in your email which one that you would like to have what you would like to make. Maybe red is more your color, I don't know, but I thought those two collections would do really well. But you don't even, it's not even an actual pattern that has to be written up, because it's all with the foundation papers, other than the sashing, which is a 2.5 inch strip. And how I want to end it, I put the around the borders are prairie points, which I have not done, but I'm going to figure that out, and maybe I can have something to show on the next video on how it'll look. But I think I just like the way these have all the points in it, and the prairie points should really accent that in maybe this like a beige color. So that is where I'm going with this. Quickly, what I'm working on right now, of course, the Moda blockheads. Block 14, it's called Carousel Waltz, and that's by Camille Ross Kelly. This is what it looks like. Here's my block. This one was not too difficult, so that one turned out pretty good. There's that one. Next one is called Pedal Pusher by Crystal Manning. I think, yeah, that uses a template. So this is how mine turned out. This, again, it wasn't too difficult if you just follow how to use the template. And block 16 is Cloud 9 by Debbie Maddie. And this is all just flying geese, except for the middle part, which I just, instead of, you can see here, there's 4 individual little blocks. I just fussy cut my center with this little guy. So it's one piece rather than 4 little pieces, but these are my flying geese, which I use the Creative Grids Flying Geese Ruler. That is just a great tool. I love that one. If anybody needs that one, give me a line and an email, and I can order some of those in. Next, we have the September block for the by Sherry McConnell of A Quilting Life. This one was like a basket. So you've got a lot of half square triangles, and they're good size blocks too. I think they're 18 inches, 18 and a half. This is mine. And I thought that turned out pretty good. 3 more to go. Let's see if we can squeeze that fabric out to get those 3 more blocks. And I'll show you my progress on my temperature quilt, which is all the way to the end of August, which is completed. And this is what we have. This is what I have. So a lot of red. It was a warm summer. Here's the lower half. Aren't they pretty, pretty colors? So it looks really modern to me, which I don't normally do modern, but I am really happy with the way this one's turning out. I hope several of you have jumped in on that one. The last of the sewing bit, the other night at our guild, we started back up. We had a vendor, I think it was called My Stash or something. They're a quilt shop in London, Ontario. And I bought 2 half a meter of some, I can't resist Halloween pumpkins, whatever, fall. It was so pretty. So I decided, of course, to make a project bag. Why? Because I use them, and there's not one of my project bags that doesn't have a project in it. So this is what I made, and I made a rookie mistake. See my pumpkins? They should be going like this. Yeah, when I cut it out and then I start putting together, I went, uh-oh, wrong way, but hey, I'm still going with it. And I did like a crosshatch quilting. Here's the back. I just think this is so pretty. This fabric is just so nice. And then inside we just have like some browns, keeping with the fall theme. So that's my bag. A little bit of cross stitch. Again, the Primrose Cottage people they put out their free pattern for this month, and it's called Sweets and Treats. And this is free. If you sign up for their newsletter, you will get a link, and it will show you this pattern here. Now, I wasn't fussy about the purple, so what I did was I pulled my own colors, and I made it more into a look of fall. I like that look better. It just, I don't know, just something about it didn't really hit me, so I thought, and that's what you can do with cross stitch. You can make it any way you want. Just like, same with quilting, you know. If you don't like something, change it. And of course, my Queen of the May, which I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but what I did get done is I did the whole outside border, and I just amazed myself because my borders going all around, they met up. I was so worried that I was going to make a mistake because there's lots of room to make a mistake. And I did it. I actually got all the way around. You can see that it's completely all the way, the green part. The flowers, no, I'll get there. But I just wanted to do like the bones of the border to make sure that it met up. Because, yeah, I was almost having nightmares on that one. But it did. It took a lot of very careful counting and recounting to make sure that I had it. And then I worked on this area over here on that page. So, maybe by the end of the month I'll have that page done, but this is the progress. So there we go, stitch by stitch. Now you'll want to do this bag for sure. So here is the tutorial on how to make this bag. In keeping with our jelly roll theme, I found this free pattern on the Moda website, and it's called the Hushabye Tote Bag. So you can see that the bottom pockets are all made with jelly roll strips, as well as the handle uses a nice jelly roll strip, including the trim. That's also part of the jelly roll. So you just need some yardage. So I'm going to tell you what it says. You need about a ½ yard of the front and back fabric, which I'm going to show you that I have here. I'm going to move this here. Okay. This is my front and back, and that one is Beautiful Day Tea Rose. We sell that in the shop. And my lining, I use the Catalina fig tree, and it's called Grass. So we also have that in the shop, but look how pretty they are. And the jelly roll that I had, I used it in my last tutorial to make the zipper pouch. I had several left over because I used a mini jelly roll, and this one is called Country Rose by Layla Boutique. So this is using up the rest of that jelly roll. And what I did, just to make things go a little bit quicker, I sewed my jelly roll strips. It called for 8 2.5 by, I think it was 10.5. I'm going to double check that so I don't give you the wrong one. Cut, well, 8 10-inch. So 10-inch. I actually made mine a little bit bigger. I think I made it 11-inch because after I fuse this down and quilt it, I like to cut it nice and even. So I like to make it just a little bit bigger so I get a nice, straight, even cut. So before I even started here, I prepared all my fabric. I starched it all, including the jelly roll. So everything was starched, everything's cut out and ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our fusible fleece on our fabric. So I think this is the ones down here. We're going to do our front and back. Okay, so what it tells me to do is, like, this has a kind of a bumpy side and a smooth side, the fleece. So it'll be bumpy side up, and we're going to take our fabric and lie it on the fleece like that. I'm going to move that just a bit over, and we're going to try and get it as even as possible, because I'm pretty sure I cut this exact. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And it tells me to put it on high heat and steam. So what we're just going to do is go along and just kind of hold it there to make sure it gets fused. Just make sure that that gets fused. I think if you use the steam, then that will melt that glue and it'll be stuck on there pretty good. But you really don't want to have it all kind of like bubbly afterwards. When your bag is put together, you want to have everything all nice and stuck together. So there's that, and I'm going to do that for the back piece. So here's our front and back with our fleece on. Now those pieces are 14 inches by 15.5. So the width of our bag is going to be 15.5. So that'll be the common dimension. So those ones. So next we're going to take our pocket pieces, which are both the same. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lay that down. And I'm going to put Okay, actually, I'm going to turn it this way so I can center it, right? Remember I said I made this a little bit bigger. Okay. Make sure it's all nice and smooth. And the bumpy side is facing up. All right, so that's good. So, okay, I'm going to take our iron. Make sure everything is completely fused on. Now those pieces, let me see, they end up being 9.5 by 15.5. So you'll see here that it does extend over, but that's okay because I'm going to quilt this part. And when I get done quilting, I'm going to cut it to the exact size that it needs to be. So I'll do the other one the same way. Now we have the fusible fleece on both sides. So I'm going to now quilt these as desired. And I'm going to take the piece of the trim, looks like that, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it in half again, because that's what it's called for, and then it'll end up going, when we get this all done, across the top, like that, okay? So I'll just have these trim pieces ready to go as well. Okay, so here's our front pocket piece. What I did was I took a friction pen and I went from one end to the other. I drew it and then I went 1.5 inches away and just quilted along. Just like that, and I did that for the both front and the back. So these pieces we'll just put aside for now. So next thing, it tells us to take a lining piece. So we're taking the trim, we're going to lay it across, like where we folded it, we've ironed it and folded it and folded it. So we're going to take the edges, go to the edge, to the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to pin this in place. So it's okay that it hangs over because I'm going to trim it off. Let's see if we can get this in here. And I'm just going to pin it along the top. Now it tells me pin and sew in place to the top right side of the pocket lining. And then it says after you sew it, press fold lining to back of pocket and press. Okay, so I'm going to go do that, and hopefully this is correct. We'll see. Okay, here's my trim piece sewn on. You can see where I sewed here, and then I pressed down. So I'm going to take my pocket piece. Now, this is the part that is not that clear to me, but I'm going to do it the way I think it should be done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to run it along the top of the pocket piece, and I'm going to run it along the seam line that I just made. And I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to take my clips. I'm going to hold it in place with my clips because, it doesn't make it completely clear. But you can see that's the inside of the pocket and that's the top of it. So let's just clip it like that. And they should pretty well be matched up. If there's anything that needs to be trimmed, then just give it a trim. Okay. I think that's holding pretty good. So what I'm going to do, it tells me to make some pockets. Now you can make your pockets any size that you want. So probably I'm going to go, I probably will stitch in the ditch. I'll probably go two, and then have a bigger pocket here. So I can have 2 smaller pockets and a bigger pocket here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it right here, right along this edge, very close to the edge, okay, to hold this piece in place. And then I'm going to stitch in the ditch for my pockets. Now you can see this is a little bit shorter, but in the instructions it says it may not be the same size, which is fine because we've flipped that, and we'll just trim that off, okay? And I will do that to both the front and the back, and we'll get on to the next step. Okay, we got this clipped in place, and I'm going to run a seam right here, okay? That'll hold that in place. So we're going to take our bag piece. We're going to lay this on top. Well, we're going to make sure you're going to trim that, okay? Make sure that is trimmed up. And you're going to lay it on here. And hold it with the clips. And this is where you're going to do your pockets. I almost did it wrong in my head earlier, but So I'm just going to run a seam right here, right on the, we're going to go in the ditch, two over, go 2 over, go in the ditch, and I have a nice big pocket in the middle, okay? Or, I mean, if I wanted to, I could go in the center, and the center here. We'll see. I'm just doing this on the fly. So, okay, again, run our seam here to hold this down, and we're going to do this on the front and the back. And we're going to take our pieces, we're going to lay our pocket piece on top, like that, and we're going to do, run a seam down for our pockets. So you decide how big you want to make your pockets. Okay, now this is what it looks like when you have the pocket piece sewn onto your front piece. So you can see that we have nice pockets here. So I did that, oops, whatever that is. I did that to the front and the back. So they're both the same with our trim piece on. So let's set that aside and let's do our handles. So what I did, we take 2 jelly roll strips, sew them on the lengthways. Now I've just ironed these in place, because otherwise I can't see it. So I'm going to keep that in place as we iron this one down. So the pins should be fine. They're the kind with the little rubber head thingy, silicone, so the heat won't bother it. Okay, that should be good. We'll go down. Next section. Press that. Hopefully, yep, put the bumpy sides on the right way. Press. Keep the iron off that end. Okay. Press that down. And flip it over. Take out our pins. Move that. Oh no, we're going to still need that. Because what it's telling us to do after we do that, we're going to iron. Like that. We're going to iron that side in. Okay, so we'll go all the way down. And just move it along. And we're going to do the other side. Exactly the same thing. Just fold it in. Now, it doesn't go all the way to the middle, but that's okay, because it told me to cut a 2.5-inch strip of this batting, but we're going to fold it again, so. And I'm going to cut that piece off. Take my scissors. Try to do that nice and straight. Just cut that extra off of there. You don't need that. Okay, we're going to fold that one more time. Like that, and try to get it so your edges are nicely aligned. Okay, let's iron all the way down. This is a nice thick handle. Okay, move it down. Just enough to put the crease in it. Now you probably want to clip it in place. Okay, so, or, let me see here. It says, fold raw edges to middle. Okay, so this person who did the pattern says they like to sew 3 times down. So I'm going to sew this. I'm going to sew it first along that edge. And I'm going to sew again in the middle. And then I'm going to sew again on this edge. Okay, so we'll get that done. And once I get that, and then I'm going to cut it right in half, because it said to fold it in half and then cut it. And then so those will be our 2 handles. So I'll go get that done, and then we'll be able to pin it onto our bag. Okay, here's our handles. They're sewn. My middle line is not in the middle, but you know what? It is what it is. So you're going to have to decide what side do you want to show out. Now, here's our bag. I'm going to take one of these handles, and it's telling me to put it in about 3 inches from the top. So let's just mark our little 3-inch here and here. I'm going to put it on the inside of that. So I'm going to have it like that. So we're going to put that there. And I'm going to just pin it in place. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to use a clip. I'm going to use one of these clips. Clip that. Make sure you don't twist it. Okay. And we're going to put that one in. And it's telling me to use a scant 1/4 of an inch just to tack that in place to keep it there. So we're going to do the same thing to the back. So there's our piece. And we're going to mark it again. Going to take it so it hangs down like that. Let's clip that one in place. We're going to do our box corners after this. And then we'll do the lining. And the lining will be pretty much the same as the outside. So we're going to go tack these into place. And then we'll tackle those box corners. Okay, making some good progress here. Time for the corners. This is how I'm going to do it. Okay. It says to take a 3-inch template. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw. Just mark it here. So, and we're going to do over here the same thing. We're going to put our template here just so we can see to cut it. Okay. Take your scissors. Now you got to be careful. You don't want to cut beyond that line. Okay. Just careful. There. Okay, we're going to turn. We're going to cut very carefully. Tell you how to big scare because I was cutting into my pockets in the front, which I think is totally bizarre that you're going to box where your pockets are, but that's what it has. So we're just going to keep following what it says. Okay, the pattern actually says to sew all the way around and then box, so it's just 6 of one, half dozen of another. Okay, so what we're going to do after I cut out this side, we're going to put our right sides together. Okay, and we're going to sew there and there, and we'll get to the boxing part. So I'm just going to cut that out, and I'm going to sew the front to the back, and we'll get to that section. Okay, here's our lining. It looks a little bit of a hot mess here, but it's good. So I stitched down the sides, okay? I stitched on the bottom, and then I boxed the corners. You can see that the corners are boxed here and here. Remember, I left a good size hole here because we're going to turn it back through when the bag is all done, okay? So we need a spot where we can turn it through. So I might even have to make that hole a little bit bigger, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that lining, okay? Turn our lining, and what we're going to do, we have our bag. Okay, we're going to put those handles in, and what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of put that in. We're going to keep those right sides are going to go together, okay? This is the part where you have to trust. Now, I know when I box these, there's a lot of bulk. We have a lot of bulk here, so hopefully you have a nice sharp needle on your machine, and hopefully your machine can really penetrate through all those layers. Okay, so we're going to take our side seams. And we're going to nest those side seams, okay? Like that. And we're going to clip all the way around. So we're going to do our seams first, okay? Because we want those to match up. Okay? So one is going to go one way, one's going to go the other, and we're going to match them up. We're so close to being done. We're getting there. We're getting there, okay? And then we're just going to clip. Put as many clips as you need so you can sew it all the way around, okay? So I've been using probably maybe a 1/2 inch seam or close to it with these bags. Oh well, so far it's matching up pretty good. Like there's not any extra, so let's clip. And when you go over those handles, go over them a couple times. Like make sure you really reinforce where the handles are. And we're going to top stitch it after anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to sew all the way around with probably about maybe 3/8 seam. Okay, we're going to do that. And we'll pull it through. Okay, so we sewed it all the way around. Okay, here is the big reveal. Pray that we did all the steps right. This may take a bit to get it through, so let's get this part in through first. Get our handles. Some momentum going here. It's like giving birth here. Okay. Oh, there we go. We got the bulk. There we go. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my hand in here and get those corners out. Wow, looks okay. I think we did okay here. No, it might not be 100% perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to stuff that back in there. See, there's our lining. What I'm going to do is I am going to close that hole. Okay, I'm going to stuff the whole thing in like this. I'm going to press it and I'm going to top stitch that down. So we'll have the finished bag. So let me do that last step and we're going to have a nice finished bag. And you know what? This actually looks pretty good. I'm happy. A little wrinkled. Well, let's tidy that up. Okay, guys, here it is. It's all done. I got pockets. Pocket there. I have to say, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm pretty pleased. So, and we'll just flip it the other side. Now, when I did the top stitch, I set my stitch length at a 3.0, so I have a nice length there. And wow, I really like that. I really like that for a free pattern. Wow. Pretty nice. So give this a try and you will just love it. Because now it's a really versatile bag with all these pockets. Now if you wanted to add pockets on the inside, go for it. But use up those jelly rolls and see how pretty you can make it. You can make a bag for all seasons. Winter, spring, summer, Halloween, you name it, Christmas. So give it a try. Thank you very much and have a great day. Keep sewing, keep stitching.